I got a car, I got a house, right? I got collateral. Do you have any credit history? Yeah. I've been in this job for the past 3 years, so this is 1 month. They don't need any more help. They are now part of the formal economy. If we are serious about helping the poor, then my view is that we need to help them start to own some assets, start to become a part of the formal economy. Otherwise, it just gets too expensive. There's something else that I learned. Role models. One of the things we find in many parts of Africa is simply this sense of hopelessness. When you have had generations after generations of unemployment, there's a sense of hopelessness. You can come to some of our towns where 80% of the adults are unemployed. They sit around, they wait for the pensions checks for their grandparents or their parents to come through. They're into drugs, they're into alcohol. It's a real sense of just hopelessness. And one of the ways to lift them is by giving them role models. This is Jake's hard work. Jake's rose to be Nelson Mandela's chief of staff when Mandela was president. Looked after Mandela's affairs when Mandela was in jail. Headed up the Mandela Rhodes Foundation, Mandela's Children's Foundation. But you know what? Jake's parents grew up on a farm next door to us. Still buried there. Their graves are there. So when Jake's retired and bought a house back in our district, I went straight for Jake's. I said, Jake, you got to come and help me to inspire our young people. Because if someone like you, from here, can rise to high office, there's hope for all our kids. The place of role model is just so important to give people, especially our young people, a sense of hope. So whenever we get into investments, we also think about who can be the role models to come and inspire children. Let me skip some of this stuff because it's, we can spend all day talking. We have a foundation there. I fenced up about 1,500 acres to put non-dangerous animals on because I discovered very early on, most of our African kids have never seen wild animals in the wild. Only in books, television, they've never experienced and seen game. And my view is, if conservation is going to have a chance, we've got to get our young people excited about their heritage. And so we've put up a fence around 1,500 acres, put non-dangerous animals on, and we bus in children from the townships for a day. They can come and walk with zebras, walk with giraffes, walk with wildebeest, and have our young people who've themselves been AIDS orphans and so on, spend a day with them, to encourage them, to say, there is a way out of poverty, but it requires hard work, it requires education. Right? And this is, I don't fund this, I don't want to fund charity, this is being funded by guests. So when the guests come, they have a good experience at a game park, they have an opportunity to make a donation, and out of that donation, we bus in these kids. So it's a way for the guests to engage, to say, don't just come for a wonderful experience. Come and join us to help our transformation. So our kids are busted through the foundation. This is a chain of low-cost schools in Kenya. It's the largest chain of low-cost schools. So here's the other challenge. Can you design a business that can tackle this huge problem that we have of education in the slums? Okay? Without using charity. So here is a kind of school in the box where parents pay about $5 to $6 per child per month. So it's not free. $5 to $6 per child per month. They use M-Pesa. We're all familiar with M-Pesa, right? And we use technology to reduce the cost. So when you use M-Pesa, Everything is instant, so you don't need huge back offices. And this is one of the reasons, a very simple reason why the private schools in the slums do better than government schools, is because we pay teachers on time. Right? Same problem that we have in Uganda, we have in Kenya. Because of all these bureaucracy and so on, teachers never know when they get paid. And so teacher absenteeism runs at around 35% in Kenya. So it's about that. It's roughly about 30% in Uganda as well from the last figures I saw. Because governments don't pay them on time, they have to have the same jobs outside. So our teachers are demotivated, or they're absent. They're not teaching. Right? So that contributes to all the problems that we have with basic education. So here's a model where parents pay. We use technology. We use Look. We use the Look tablet. So the curriculum is scripted. We started with one school in 2008. Today we have 450 schools all over Kenya. We have 30 schools in Uganda. And we have 125,000 kids now in our schools. We're building 2 schools every week. We employ 5,000 people now. We train 1,000 teachers at any one time. We test our kids once every 2 weeks. We have an educational team sitting in Boston. We do the analytics. We know exactly what stage each child is at, and those who are falling behind gets extra tuition so that they catch up. And this year is our first year where we've set the national exam, the Kenyan national exam. And we've performed better than the government schools. And what we're discovering is this. When something is free, parents haven't taken as much interest. And they feel that they don't have the rights to ask too many questions. Because it's free. It's good. But now they're having to pay. They are standing outside the school gate and they're challenging the teacher. Why isn't my daughter doing better? It's now an investment. You know, there's something about psychology, right? With government schools, it's just like our government hospitals. You don't feel that you can be too demanding. But if you're paying for it, you can be a lot more demanding. And we need parents to be more demanding. So say, why isn't my child doing better? And parents are taking more interest in their kids' education. We will have over 30 schools in Uganda by the end of the year. And we will be projecting to have 300-400 schools in Uganda over the next 2 years. And we can come back and talk about this further because there are some other models that could also be very interesting here. But this is a really interesting model where everything is scripted. The head teacher has a smartphone. He knows exactly who's paid, who isn't paid. He pays teachers from his smartphone. He has a record of all the grades of the test results of every child. He can tracks everything. The head teacher. So that's education. Toilets. We have 2 toilet business, 2 different models. This is in Kenya, in Kibera and Mukuru. So here we have one of these ladies who are franchisors. They franchise to have a toilet. And you know what those toilets are like in the slums, right? You've seen those. And we're still in Kampala, in some of our slums. They have the pit latrines with loose bricks, so that when the rains come, they remove the bricks, and that's how the waste is exhausted, right? And all that waste stays in our slums. You know, look, I come from the pharmaceutical industry. Nothing pleases us more than to sell more drugs, more vaccines, more intervention. But you know, no matter how much we put in, if we don't improve the environment, no amount of medical intervention intervention will make any difference. The West's thinking is always, let's go for a quick fix. Let's vaccinate, let's give drugs, let's do this, let's do that. But TB is a disease of poverty and overcrowding. It doesn't matter how much medical intervention we put in. If there's overcrowding, there will be TB. Malaria is a disease of poverty and the environment. If our environment is bad, it doesn't matter how much medical intervention we spend. We will never be able to eradicate malaria. But for the West, oh, let's give them more charity. Right? It's not the solution. We've got to remove the waste. We've got to find a way of improving the environment. So here is this lady who's got a franchise toilet, and you notice these are all solid, right? So people can't come and strip them away. But the other thing is, because she owns it, she looks after it. And that's again with the other problem that we've had with charities coming in with good intentions, building toilets, and then surprise, surprise, within a few days, the toilets are gone. Right? It's not a surprise. It's just human nature. It's human nature. Here, they own them. There are now 800 or so of these toilets. They're all in blue, so you fly over Kavira and Kuru and you see spots of blue. So all these toilets. People pay to use them. On average, about $5.50 a day will use them. So she gets an income. But as a business, the amount of money is very small. The only way to make money is when we take the waste away every day to convert into organic fertilizer. And we have a Biomax machine that can take 15 tons a day. And it's selling the organic fertilizer that makes this thing sustainable. No charity. So it's creative thinking. It's thinking about designing businesses that can address poverty and address social problems that we have, right? But making it sustainable. So there's no charity here. These are the cook stoves. Some of you will know about this. Again, what this cook stove does is that it is a lot more fuel efficient, uses about half the amount of wood. You know, the poor, on average in Africa, spends 30% of their income on fuel. That's really significant. So if you can reduce that, that's a big saving for them. But furthermore, if we can reduce the amount of trees that we chop down, that's also a good thing. Furthermore, if we can remove the smoke, it's the fumes. Cooking, breathing, respiratory disease from this is the 4th major killer in Africa. Our women and our children's health are being affected just through the daily chores of cooking. It's breathing all these fumes, all these toxins. Right? So here is something that takes out about 80% of the fumes and toxins, uses half the amount of wood, and then the smart things, these guys are carbon traders. They're trading carbon credits. And that's how they came up, you know, with this model. They have calculated how many trees they will save, how much less CO2 will be thrown out into the atmosphere, and they've converted it into carbon units, and they've sold the carbon units, Microsoft, and to John Lewis's here, and they've used that money to subsidize and reduce the cost of these stoves going forward. We sell about 50,000 of these in Kenya a year. That's every year we can get 50,000 families to sort of reduce their toxin levels from this. That's going to be helpful. And reduce the number of trees that we chop down, because deforestation in Africa is becoming a really, really serious problem. So again, a enterprise-based model to tackle this very fundamental problem that we have. This is in South Africa. This was our second investment in South Africa. Computer training centers. In our townships, in our slums, a whole lot of young people without any literacy in computing now. The reality